Hello my dear shining stars, how are you all doing? I hope you all are very fit and healthy, and today you all are here with full of energy to start with a new lesson, a new thing to see and learn. So starting with the Aarchi series by Heavens Publishing House, class 6th, chapter number 12. The chapter names The Unwanted Guest. Now see, what's this? This is a maze. This is a puzzle. You have to solve it. Abhi is injured falling from the bicycle. Help him reach the doctor as soon as possible. So Abhi is injured here and the doctor is here. So there are so many hurdles in between the road. So how will Abhi reach the doctor at once so that he doesn't have these hurdles in between? So let's see how he goes, how can he reach. So we start Abhi's journey here. He starts from this side and see no hurdle is there. If we go from this side, there is a hurdle. Here there is no hurdle, no obstacle here, no obstacle here, and here Abhi reaches. It was a fun. It was a great fun. Good one. So next, what's there? Now, this chapter is a play. It's basically a play which is based on Saki's story. The Miracle Merchant, Saki the Miracle Merchant. So two friends of his mother who do not see eye to eye are scheduled to be at their country house. Now two women who are like, they don't like each other. So they are supposed to be together at this Miracle Merchant's home. Now see how he will face the situation. So Clovis, the son of Mr. Bewhistle, takes up himself the task of talking a tricky situation for his mother. Now Clovis' mother is very much upset that how she will handle this situation. Two enemies together, two women who are enemies, how they'll stay together in their house. So Clovis, Mrs. Bewhistle's son, he takes the challenge. Okay, I'll handle this situation. Let's see how Clovis handles this situation. So what are the characters here? Mrs. Bewhistle. Clovis is Mrs. Bewhistle's son. Sturridge is the butler who works, who cooks there in their home. Jane Marlett, Mrs. Bewhistle's guest. Okay. Now there is a dining room in Mrs. Bewhistle's country house. Mrs. Bewhistle is seated at the table. She is having her breakfast. Enters Clovis. Clovis enters while his mother is having the breakfast. Mrs. Bewhistle, I have just had a letter from Dora Witholz to say she is coming on Thursday. She says this to Clovis. Clovis, this next Thursday. Isn't it rather awkward? Mrs. Bewhistle, why awkward? Now Clovis says, isn't this very awkward that she is coming next Thursday? Clovis, Jane Marlett has only been here 5 days and she never stays less than a fortnight. You will never get her out of the house by Thursday. Now Clovis says, now mother, as you know that Jane Marlett is already here in our house and she will not leave the house before fortnight. So how will you make her go out of the house as your other friend Dora is coming? Mrs. Bewhistle, why should I? She and Dora are good friends, aren't they? They used to be. So Mrs. Bewhistle says that why should I make Marlett go out of the house? Let Dora come. Both of them are very good friends, aren't they? Clovis, they used to be. That's what makes them such bitter enemies now. Clovis says, Mother, they used to be some time before, they used to be very good friends, but now they are enemies. Mrs. Bewes, but what has happened? What have they quarreled about? Now Mrs. Bewes was not aware of this. So she asked Clovis. A hen. Clovis says, a hen. Mrs. Bewes, a hen? What hen? Clovis, it was a bronze leghorn or some such breed, and Dora sold it to Jane at a rather high price. When they used to be friends, Dora and Jane, a bronze leghorn, a breed of a hen, was sold by Dora to Jane on a very high price. Now Clovis is telling how they had become enemies. Mrs. Bewes says, if Jane agreed to the price, I don't see what there was to quarrel about. Now Mrs. Bewes says, if Jane had agreed on that price and she had purchased that hen on that price, so what was the reason of quarrel? Clovis, well, you see, it turned out the bird would not lay eggs, and I am told that the letters which passed between the two women were extremely rude. Now, what Clovis tells her mother, his mother, he says that when the bird was purchased by Jane, she finds out that the hen didn't lay eggs. Now Jane was very angry that she has purchased the hen on such a high price and the hen is not laying egg. So what is the use of the hen? So they had extremely rude conversations amongst them. Mrs. Bewes, how ridiculous. Couldn't some of their friends get them to end the quarrel? So she said, oh, so big elderly people and they are quarreling on this. So didn't somebody stop them from quarreling? Clovis, people tried. Jane was willing to take back some of her most insulting remarks if Dora would take back the hen. Now, what was Jane ready to do? Jane was ready to take her bad remarks which she had given for Dora, but she said that Dora has to take back the hen. And did she? Clovis, no, she did. She said that would be admitting that she was in the wrong, and Dora would never do that. Dora never accepted that because Dora said that if I do this, if I accept this, it would prove that I am wrong. Mrs. Bewes, having both of them here would be a most awkward situation. Do you suppose they won't speak to each other? Clovis, on the contrary, the difficulty will be to get them to stop speaking. Now Mrs. Bewes asks Clovis that how will they stay together, and do you think that they will not speak to each other? So Clovis says, no mother, I am not afraid of this. I am afraid that they would not stop speaking. They will again start quarreling. Mrs. Bewes, what is to be done? I can't put Dora off. I have already postponed her visit once, and nothing short of a miracle would make Jane leave before her fortnight is over. Now Mrs. Bewes says that I can't stop Dora from coming here because already I had postponed her visit earlier. So, and Jane will also not leave my place before a fortnight. Now what to do? Clovis, I don't mind trying to supply a miracle at short notice. Now what Clovis says that, mother, let me try something, some miracle which I can do. Mrs. Bewes, as long as you don't drag me into it. So Ms. Bewes says, I will not be a part of whatever you want to do. Exit Mrs. Bewes. Now Mrs. Bewes goes away, goes out of the room, enters Jane. Now Jane, who was staying there in their home and she was there for a fortnight, she enters, she comes in that room. Sturridge enters with a toast rack and places it on the table. Jane helps herself to a toast. Exit Sturridge. Sturridge is a butler. It's the butler who works there in Clovis, Mrs. Bewistle's house. So he comes with a rack of toast and he keeps it on the table. Now Jane helps herself. She takes the toast herself. After that, Sturridge leaves. Clovis. Servants are a bit of a nuisance. Now see how Clovis starts playing that whatever miracle he wanted to do to keep these two ladies away, Jane and Dora. He starts with that. Clovis. Servants are a bit of nuisance. He says servants are a bit of nuisance. Jane Martlet. Servants a nuisance? I should think they were. The trouble I have had in getting a good servant. But I don't see what you have to complain of. Your mother is so wonderfully lucky in her servants. Now, Jane Martlet says, yes, I too think that servants are a bit of nuisance till I got any good servant. I couldn't get a good servant for me. But your mother is so lucky to have such good servants with her. Sturridge, for instance, he has been with you for years and I'm sure he is a jewel as far as butlers go. Now, she says, just take Sturridge for instance, that he has been there for years and years with all of you and he is such a nice person, such a jewel amongst butlers. Clovis, that's just the trouble. Clovis says, that's the thing which is troubling. It's when servants have been with you for years that they become a really serious nuisance. He says, what he says to Jane, he says that this is the main reason when the years go off, they are with you for so many years, they start becoming a real nuisance. The here today and gone tomorrow sort doesn't matter. You have simply got to replace them. It's the strayers and the jewels that are the real worry. He says people who come and go, butlers who come and go, they stay for a few time and they go again. The replacement, this is good, but when people stay there for a very long time, that is the matter of worry. Jane Martlet. But if they give satisfaction, so Jane says that okay, if a person is there staying there for a long time and if that person is giving satisfaction to you, is doing good work, then Clovis, that doesn't prevent them from giving trouble. Now you have mentioned Sturridge. It was Sturridge I was particularly thinking of when I made the remark about servants being a nuisance. Now Clovis says to Jane that all these things we don't get off from this trouble if they are giving you satisfaction also. I was just about to mention about Sturridge only. I was thinking of him only. Jane Martlet, the excellent Sturridge is a nuisance. I can't believe it. Now Jane is very much surprised that how Clovis is saying Sturridge a nuisance. Clovis, I know he is excellent, but have you ever considered what it must be like to go on unceasingly doing the correct thing in the correct manner in the same surroundings for the greater part of a lifetime? Now, he said, okay, I agree that he is very excellent, he is an excellent person. Jane Martlet, I should go mad. Clovis, exactly mad. But Sturridge hasn't gone mad. He says, in the same surrounding, in the same situation, a person is working for such a long time and he is not reacting like he is behaving the same way he was earlier. So, how would you react? He asked Jane. So, Jane says, I would have gone mad if I would have been in a particular surrounding for so many years. But Clovis says, no, Sturridge hasn't gone mad. Clovis, on most points he is thoroughly sane and reliable. but at times he is subject to delusions. Now he says at points of time he is very reliable and very good, but sometimes he puts me in delusions. Jane Martlet, delusions? What sort of a delusion? Clovis, unfortunately they usually center around the guests. That is where the awkwardness comes in. Now and then he gets some idea about a guest which might take an unfortunate turn. Now he said unfortunately they start when these people they stay at home for a long time, they start giving their telling us about the guests, how the guests are, how they are behaving, and they give us the idea about they start giving the idea about the guests. Jane Martlet. That is precisely what is worrying me at the present moment. Now Clovis is just creating a miracle so that Jane leaves the house. Jane Martlet, why? He has taken some fancy about me. Now Jane Martlet says, has Sturridge said something about me? Clovis, yes. How smart Clovis is. Jane Martlet, who on the earth does he think I am? Now what is he thinking about me? What is Sturridge thinking about me? Clovis, Queen Annie. Sturridge thinks that you are Queen Annie. Jane Martlet, Queen Annie? What an idea! But anyhow, there is nothing dangerous about her. She is such a colorless personality. So she says, okay, if he is thinking about me that I am Queen Annie, so nothing dangerous about it. Queen Annie is a very colorless person. Means a very quiet and calm person. Clovis, what does history chiefly say about Queen Annie? Clovis asks Jane, do you know what does history say about Queen Annie? Jane Martlet, the only thing that I can remember about her is the saying, Queen Annie is dead. Now, she says the only thing which I remember about Queen Annie is that she is dead. Exactly, Clovis says, exactly, dead. Now see how he is creating a story. Jane Martlet, do you mean he takes me for the ghost of Queen Annie? Oh, so now Jane realizes that why Clovis is again and again pointing to a Sturridge. That Sturridge thinks that Jane Martlet is Queen Annie's ghost. Because they all know, the history says that Queen Annie is dead. Clovis, ghost? No. No one ever heard of a ghost that came down to breakfast and ate toast and honey with a healthy appetite. No, it's the fact of you being so very much alive and flourishing that bewilders and annoys him. He says, no, he doesn't think that you are a ghost. He thinks that you have come to a ghost never comes on a breakfast and eats the toast and honey. In fact, he thinks you are so much alive and you are flourishing, which annoys him. All his life he has thought of Queen Annie as standing for everything that is dead and done with. And now he has to fill your glass at lunch and dinner and listen to your stories. And naturally he feels that something's very wrong with you. Now Clovis says that Sturridge thinks that something is very wrong with you. He doesn't like you. He has to fill your glass, he has to serve you the toast, he has to serve you the breakfast, lunch and dinner. So he is not at all comfortable with that. Jane Martlet, but he wouldn't harm me on that account, would he? Now Jane says that would he harm me just because of this? No, I don't think so. Clovis, I didn't get really alarmed about it till lunch today. So till lunch I was also thinking like this. I caught him looking at you with a very threatening look and muttering, out to be dead long ago, she ought. and someone should see it. Now, Clovis says that, yes, till lunch I was also not thinking about all these things, but I saw him looking at you in a very threatening way and muttering. Muttering means speaking slowly in himself only. When a person speaks very slowly, mutters that this has happened, this has happened. Anybody is not able to hear that. But Clovis overheard that Sturridge was muttering that, yes, this Queen Anne had to be dead. How she is here. Someone should see it, that she should be dead. Jane Martlet, this is awful. Your mother must be told about it at once. Now Jane Martlet also is a bit afraid of what Clovis is saying. She said, your mother must be told, your mother must know all about Sturridge. Clovis, my mother mustn't hear a word about it. It would upset her dreadfully. She relies on Sturridge for everything. Now Clovis says, no, my mother should not get to know anything about Sturridge, because she relies on Sturridge very much. She knows that Sturridge is a very good person. He fulfills all the things, all the work which is told to Sturridge. He does everything. So my mother should not know anything. Jane Martlet. But he might kill me at any moment. Now Jane Martlet is very afraid. She says that Sturridge might kill me any moment because he is thinking of this only. Clovis, not at any moment. He is busy with his work all afternoon. Clovis says, no, not at any moment. Right now he is busy with his work. The whole afternoon he will be busy. Jane Martlet, what a dreadful situation to be in, with the mad butler dangling over one's head. But I am certainly not going to cut my visit short. Now she says, this butler is mad. For this mad butler, you think that I will cut short my visit? No, I am not going to do that. Clovis, dismayed. What a woman. Now Clovis says, oh, I have told such a, I have made her so afraid of this by this story, but she is not ready to go from the house. What a woman she is. Enters Sturridge. He begins cleaning the table. Clovis looks at him reflectively. Now Sturridge comes and he starts cleaning the table. Clovis, where is Miss Martlet? He asks, where is Miss Martlet? Means Jane Martlet. He asks Sturridge. Sturridge, in the morning room, sir, writing letters. Sturridge says she is sitting in the morning room and she is writing some letters. Clovis, pointing to a sword on the wall. There was a wall on the sword. There was a sword on the wall, and Clovis pointed to that sword. She wants to copy the inscription on the blade. He says, Sturridge, now see how he plays in a different way. The first one couldn't work. So now he starts playing in a different way with Martlet and Sturridge. He says that Sturridge, Miss Martlet wants this sword to write the inscription, to copy the inscription on the blade of the sword. I wish you would take it to her. My hands are oily. Take it without the sheath. Sheath means the cover of the sword. There is a cover of the sword. No? The sword is put inside the cover. So he says, you do one thing. My hands are oily. I am doing some work. My hands are oily. So you take that sword without the sheath and go to Miss Martlet. It will be less trouble. You do this, so I will be troubled less. Now see what happens. Sturridge, yes sir. Sturridge is a very obedient butler. He says, yes sir. Sturridge goes out holding sword. Enters Jane running. Now what Sturridge does? He takes the sword and goes where Miss Martlet was there. Jane Martlet was sitting. And after some time, what Clovis sees, that Jane is coming back running. Jane Martlet, Clovis, Clovis, where are you? Rushes upstairs, enters Sturridge. Now she starts running here and there, shouting, Clovis, Clovis, where are you? Sturridge, perplexed. Miss Martlet ran out of the room as I entered. She has called for the car to take her to the station. Now see what happens. Clovis just told Sturridge to take the sword to Miss Martlet, to Jane Martlet, because he didn't tell the truth to Sturridge also. He just said take the sword to her without the shield. She wants to write the inscription, copy down the inscription on the blade. And as Sturridge goes there, Jane Martlet thinks that Sturridge has come to kill her. Because previously Clovis had said this, that Sturridge was muttering something that she should be dead. She thinks that you are Queen Anne and she should be dead. So he has come with the sword to kill me. That's why she is so afraid that she runs away, and at the last Sturridge says that she has asked for a cab, for a car. She has called a car to take her to the station. So the idea which Clovis had applied to take away Jane out from the house, it worked. It worked very well without involving Clovis' mother into all these things, and Jane leaves the house. She is so afraid that she leaves the house. So, by Saki, as we already know. This play was by Saki. So yes, what is the moral here of this play? By this play, what is the moral we had learned? The presence of mind means how the mind is aware and prepared to impress and influence the other person. Everybody should have a presence of mind. Whatever situation comes in front of you, you should be ready to face that, as Clovis did. Clovis' mother just told him the situation which was about to come, and with his presence of mind, he was able to manage that situation. It is usually found in those who are naturally good leaders of men, being one of the qualities which make them fit for leadership. Now, a good leader is one who has a presence of mind, who knows when to handle the situation in which way. Now, moving ahead, let's do the exercises. It was a good story. It was a nice story. It has shown us that how we should be smart to face everything. Take the correct answer. Clovis said it was awkward for Jane and Dora to be their guests together because. Clovis said it was awkward. Why Jane and Dora couldn't be guests together? Their house was not large enough? No. The two women were bitter enemies. Yes. As Clovis knew that the two women were the bitter enemies. They couldn't stay, they will not be able to stay together. So, this is the correct option. Clovis said the difficulty will be to get them to stop speaking. He meant, what did he mean? That they will not sit quietly, we will be not able to stop them from speaking. The two women would quarrel non-stop. Yes, they were enemies, so they would start quarreling. So, the two women would quarrel non-stop. Next is the statement, a jewel as far as butlers go, indicates that Sturridge was. A jewel as far as butlers go. A very well-trained butler. Sturridge was a very well-trained butler. That's why the statement was put, a jewel as far as butlers go. The statement, what a woman, expresses Clovis. Now, when he had put that situation in front of Jane, and Jane was not ready to leave the house then also. So, what was the expression Clovis did? Clovis had an expression of frustration. That was his frustration, that in spite of saying all these things, she is not ready to leave the house. It was and he was surprised also. He was surprised too, that in spite of saying all these things, so he was much more surprised than frustrated. He was much more surprised because he had a plan B also for her. So he was surprised. What a woman says, it was an expression of surprise. Answer the following questions. Now coming to question answers, let's see what all we remember from the lesson, from the play. What had Jane Martlet and Dora Bitholz fought over? What was that thing on which they had fought over? It was just a hen. It was a hen. What kind of condition did Jane lay to sort out the problem with Dora? Did Dora agree to the condition? Why? Why not? What kind of condition did Jane lay? Jane said that I will take all my bad remarks back. Some very bad remarks which I had given to Dora, I will take all those back, but the condition is that Dora has to take back the hen. So this was the condition which was laid by Jane. Why could Mrs. Bewhistle not put off Dora's visit? Mrs. Bewhistle could not put off Dora's visit. Why? Because she had already postponed her visit earlier. That's why she couldn't stop her from coming now. What, according to Clovis, had led to Sturridge's madness? What, according to Clovis, had led to Sturridge's madness? Because Sturridge's madness was, why Sturridge was mad? Because Sturridge thought that Jane Martlet was Queen Anne, and Queen Anne should have been dead, because history says that Queen Anne is dead. So how come he has to now serve to Queen Anne? He has to fill the glass, he has to serve breakfast, he has to serve dinner. So Sturridge's madness was on this only, that how come Queen Anne is alive? Why must Mrs. Whistle not be told about Sturridge's condition? Clovis told Jane that no, my mother should not know about Sturridge's condition. Why? Because Mrs. Bewhistle relied on Sturridge very much, and Sturridge was a very nice, one of the most trained and very good butler of their house. How did Clovis trick Sturridge to carry the sword to Jane? Now see, Sturridge was also tricked by Clovis, because Sturridge never knew that the sword was never been asked by Jane. But Clovis, how did he trick Sturridge? Clovis said Sturridge that the sword has to be given to Jane, as Jane wanted to copy the inscription on the blade of the sword. So he said Sturridge to take the sword to Jane Martlet. So this was all in the play. I hope you all must have enjoyed this play. The tricks which were played by Clovis, the tricks for something good. We should never play tricks for something bad, but Clovis played trick for something good. He just wanted to avoid the situation, the bad situation which would come if Jane and Dora would have been together in the house. So that's all in this lesson. Have a good day, children, and enjoy your knowledge thoroughly. I'll be back with many new things with you. So stay blessed, stay healthy. Bye-bye.